Hi everyone, today I will share about the carbon footprint of urban space. City plays an important role in the carbon cycle. They produce a larger proportion of CO2 emission, but they are also sequester and store carbon in urban forests and green space. The carbon footprint analysis is the established method for systematically quantifying carbon sink and source throughout the lifetime of goods and service. Next, there are three cycle inventories of urban green space, which are construction, maintenance, and tree biomass. Then the figure show that the total emission of construction for urban green space. We can say that any kind of project will produce a carbon footprint. In conclusion, urban green space can act as a carbon sink, and the design and maintenance have strong influence on carbon footprint. The carbon footprint analysis is a valuable tool for estimating the long-term environmental performance of urban green space project. Thank you.
The development of international standard to facilitate process improvement for very small enterprise. This is the ISO standard for the very small enterprise. Industry recognise that very small entities that develop software are very important to the economy. A very small entity is an enterprise, organization, department or project with up to 25 people. Failure to deliver a quality product on time and within budget threatens the competitiveness of the very small entities and impacts their customers. One way to mitigate this risk is to put in place proven software engineering practice. ISO establish a framework for software lifecycle process and terminology. It applies to the acquisition of system and software products and service to the supply, development, operation, maintenance and disposal of software product and the software portion of a system, whether performed internally or externally to an organization.
Did you know every spam email releases an estimate of 0.3 grams of CO2 into the atmosphere? Approximately 62 trillion spam emails are sent per year, requiring the use of electricity and causing 20 million tons of CO2 per year. An average email weighs 230 kilobytes. So if you delete 30 emails, you will save 222 watt-hours. This is equivalent of a low-energy light bulb left on for a day.
And as we all know, we are currently facing a great challenge of climate change, which impacts humans and lead to changes in our environment. Therefore, to address this issue, the biggest factor that contributes to carbon emission that could affect to the climate change, primarily industry sector, must identify the level of emissions due to each process that happens during the entire life cycle of the product. And how? By applying to ISO 14067, industry sector able to measure the impact of their daily operations on environment using carbon footprint analysis through the ISO itself. And here are the steps to apply ISO 14067. Firstly, submission of request for information, and then issuance of quotation, then application of the ISO, next submission of carbon footprint report and spreadsheet, and then document review, on-site audit. After that, issuance of audit findings, resolution of audit findings, final verification, and approval and certificates.
A home garden can help reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Planting a home garden can cut carbon emissions to the atmosphere. Those factors are reduction of lawn area due to replacement by the garden, reduction of vegetables purchases from the grocery store, reduction in the amount of greywater sent to treatment facilities due to diversion to irrigate the garden, and reduction in amount of household organic waste exported to treatment facilities due to home composting. However, if gardening is done right, it could actually contribute to greenhouse gas emissions. food waste must be properly composed to prevent the emissions. Planting a garden, then forgetting about it, ends up emitting more greenhouse gases than if you never started.
First type of carbon pricing is carbon tax. So carbon tax is the market for low carbon fuels that do not have higher carbon fuels costs that must be more competitive in order to reduce emission. By enabling long-term planning based on a predetermined price for each ton of carbon dioxide or other greenhouse gas emitted. Next type is cap and trade system. So the cap and trade system limit carbon emission while letting the market determine the price of carbon through the purchase and sale of pollution permits. Permits, also known as credit or allowance, are bought and sold on the open market. It's allowing organizations to buy as many as they need to cover emission or sell permit as they manage to lower emissions. So in California and several northern states participating in the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative currently use this technique. So lastly is the hybrid carbon pricing program. The idea of carbon pricing program is a hybrid of the cap and tax. The cap and tax combination is the best method for pricing carbon. The hybrid approach is based on a carbon cap, has a solid science-based emission target, and it also has a minimum and maximum permit price. The carbon cap's price becomes fixed at the floor or ceiling price and effectively turns into a tax if it falls to one of those levels. This program helps to assure that the carbon coal will be met, bearing an excessive increase in carbon pricing.
Hi guys, it's Zarif here, and today I'll be sharing with you a simple way on how to recycle your waste. So as you know, one of the best ways to reduce your carbon footprint is to recycle. Yes, that's correct, to recycle. And today I'll be sharing with you guys on how to recycle a very common household item, which is the packed drink. It's 4 easy steps and it's very simple. So I'll show you step by step. So the first one is actually you have to fit in the straw, then you have to flip the sides, and then flap. You flap the bottom of the pack, and then you flatten it. So I'll show you here. So first you fit in the straw, and then you flip the sides. Alright, and then you flap the bottom of the pack, and then you flatten it. And now you can recycle this packed drink. Easy.
ISO is a short form for International Organization for Standardization. ISO is a non-governmental organization made up of standards bodies from more than 160 nations, with one standards body for each member nation. The American National Standards Institute, for instance, serves as a representative of the U.S. National standards organizations that are members of ISO work together to produce and promote international standards for a variety of topics, including technology, societal challenges, working conditions, and scientific testing procedures. The ISO's General Assembly is its decision-making body. It consists of representatives from the members and elected leaders called principal officers. The organization has its headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland, where a central secretariat oversees operations. Documents describing these standards are then distributed by ISO and its members. ISO 14067 is one of a method that can be used to combat carbon issues in the industry, as well as can measure and calculate the carbon footprint of an industry. Not only that, but ISO 14067 is important and can benefit industry sectors by outlining the standards, criteria, and guidelines for communicating and quantifying the carbon footprints of products, becoming a tool to identify areas where greenhouse gas emissions can be decreased, able to raise consumer awareness and emphasizes on how decisions made by the consumers can affecting the climate change, enhancing the quantification of greenhouse gases' environmental integrity, facilitating the ability to track performance and progress in reducing greenhouse gases emissions and increasing the greenhouse gases removals. Also, last but not least, ISO 14067 able to encourage the industry in saving the cost to combat carbon issue by decreasing the carbon gases produced by industry through ISO.
Everyone, today I will share information about the impact of COVID-19 outbreak measures of lockdown on the Italian carbon footprint. Italy has been among the most affected countries worldwide by the COVID-19 outbreak. Knowledge is scarce on the environmental consequences of COVID-19 related lockdown. Then a carbon footprint assessment has been applied to inform on these consequences. 20% of impact has been avoided from the lockdown in Italy compared to past year. Next is the change of the carbon footprint before and after lockdown in Italy. The figure shows that there are some changes in terms of energy consumption based on carbon footprint. That means before the COVID-19 outbreak, the carbon footprint is higher than after the COVID-19 outbreak. We can see the changes in the figure. In conclusion, daily global CO2 emission decreases within the range of 11 and 25% by early April 2020 compared with the mean 2019 level. This has been mainly due to significant reduction in the consumption of natural gas, oil, and petroleum product and electricity. Thank you.
Could you live a low carbon life? Some want a clear consign, others want to see if they are up to the challenge, but none of them want to wait until 2050 to cut their carbon emission down to near zero. Across the country, environmentalists of all ages, from 7 to 75, are taking action now to lead low carbon life. To achieve this target, people will have to fly less, waste less, and eat less meat. But many people are already living like this, and some are even doing so in eco-super homes, houses which have been adapted to achieve a 60% or more reduction in carbon usage. Residents already practice on reducing carbon footprints. More walking, recycling wastewater from sink and rainwater, insulated house, and also gardening. These are practices that they use during daily life.
Did you know 20 grams of CO2 is equivalent to 1 hour of Netflix? So, let's take an example. 1 season of Crush Candy on You can generate 320 grams of CO2, where it is approximately equal to 1 miles in an average passenger vehicle, which is 400 grams CO2. So, what you can do? Firstly, you can watch Netflix with your family and friends instead of alone, because it can reduce the number of individual streams and also serve as a fun bonding activity. Second, pause your screen time frequently and do something else, which is other relaxing activity that can be done is reading an ebook. Besides, drawing and baking are also good for the environment and your eyes. Thirdly, be mindful about your video streaming habits. If you believe you are spending too much time in front of a screen, consider looking for any underlying causes. For instance, rather than watching Netflix to relieve tension, consider talking to a friend or family member about your issue or your problem.
The following figure shows the substandards of ISO that are related to carbon and greenhouse gases emissions, which work hand in hand with the goal of complete greenhouse gas emissions reporting. It offers the appropriate entry point for project or program-based accounting of greenhouse gas emissions for every initial situation. Industry can use partial aspects of the ISO 14067 and adapt them to their need. This advantage arises from disentanglement of the family of standards into several substandards. Based on this picture, you can see that there are several substandards of ISO, which all of them bring the same mission, which is to combat greenhouse gases emission. However, you can see that only ISO 14067 needs to submit the carbon footprint product report before submitting the greenhouse gases statement. All of these ISO need to ensure that the engagement type of greenhouse gases statement are consistent with the needs of the intended user.
Ways to reduce carbon footprint in food consumption. First, only buy what you need. 20% until 50% of everything we buy ends up in landfill. Second, eat less meat and dairy. 70% of the world's footprint is from animal products. Third one, eat less processed food. The more processed a food is, the bigger its footprint. Fourth, buy local and in season. These foods have traveled less and stored less. Fifth, grow your own food. The ultimate in local, seasonal, and unprocessed food.
Hi, this video is about the carbon footprint of water. So this is the report that related to this topic. Based on the report, the results state that residential water heating comprises the largest share of water-related carbon emission. Water-related energy consumption is responsible for approximately 290 million metric tons of carbon dioxide emission annually. This represents about 5% of the US carbon dioxide emissions in 2005. Among the ways to reduce carbon dioxide emission in some specific areas, first, for indoor, consumers can directly save energy by reducing hot water consumption. For outdoor, we can improve the irrigation technique, weather or sensor-based irrigation controllers, and water-efficient landscape design. For commercial, industrial, and institutional, we can using pre-rain spray valves. For water supply and treatment system area, we can reducing leaks at the place by maintenance regularly the water supply and treatment system. Lastly, for agriculture, we can reduce the carbon dioxide emission by site selection, soil amendment, crop rotation, and conservation-oriented pricing.
Let's look at the solutions for the carbon footprint. There are numerous ways that can be implemented to reduce or mitigate carbon footprint. So today, we will be focusing on ways to solve it from two different approaches. The first is reducing the carbon footprint as a society, and the second is reducing the carbon footprint as an individual. It comes as no surprise that reducing the carbon footprint is not an easy task, especially in the current world we're living in, where transportation and industrialization is the main culprit in emitting carbon into the atmosphere. Thus, with this said, one of the steps we can take is to invest in renewable energy. A renewable energy source is an energy that is long-lasting, something that never runs out or is infinite. Renewable sourced electricity is key for decarbonization. We can depend on the electricity generation to come from solar and wind. Next, innovation for a circular economy. A circular economy, by definition, emits less carbon than a linear economy. Producing new materials emits carbon dioxide. Circular economies reduce the need for new materials by maximizing resource reuse, thereby eliminating the carbon costs of producing new materials. Furthermore, using low-carbon technologies. Low-carbon technology is a relatively new term in the technological system. It is proposed to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Low-carbon technology reduces carbon emissions while also promoting economic growth and increasing energy consumption. The low-carbon technology has the property of reducing the concentration of greenhouse gases to a relatively stable level by controlling carbon emissions. It benefits ecosystem balance, mitigating or canceling the effects of global climate change, coordinated development with the environment, and harmonious development of man and nature with economic growth. Now, let's investigate the ways to reduce your carbon footprint as an individual. One option we can adopt is consuming less meat. This is due to the extensive use of feed, water, and land in the production of red meat. Cows produce methane emissions as well. Eating low on the food chain as much as possible is probably a good way to reduce your carbon footprint while remaining healthy. Next, we move to the importance of reducing the carbon footprint. The first importance is to be able to reduce the negative impact on the environment. This is because the carbon footprint can reduce the problem of global warming caused by high carbon dioxide emissions. Global warming that contributes to ice melting and sea level rise can also be overcome. Second, preserve wildlife from extinction. As we know, climate change due to increased carbon causes endangered wildlife species. For example, migrating birds find that plants do not bloom or bloom too early when they reach their destination. This problem causes malnutrition and eventually extinction. Third, helping economic growth. The low amount of carbon encourages plants to be more fertile. Several studies show that climate change affects countries that depend on their land as an agricultural and natural resource. Carbon reduction will increase plant fertility and advance the economy of a country. The last thing is to reduce health problems. When the air quality in the city is free from any polluting gases, health problems such as allergies, asthma, and bronchitis can be avoided. In conclusion, every country is involved in economic activities such as manufacturing, agriculture, transportation, and various other activities. It will be faced with the issue of carbon footprint, which is increasingly worrying. In Malaysia, it is proven that urban residential areas emit more carbon dioxide than rural areas. This is a result of the rapid urbanization process and urban lifestyle, both of which contribute to increased greenhouse gas emissions. Therefore, various strategies need to be implemented to increase public awareness of this problem.